shorty, but it's a good one. Everybody, somebody, nobody, and anybody. There was an important job to be done, and everyone was asked to do it. Everybody was sure that somebody would do it, and anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that anybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. Either God performed a miracle, or this very thing happened right here in our own little church. No electricity to right downstairs storeroom for 2 years. Very distressing. Verdict: needed some new power line to the broken box. Not accomplished. Electrician summoned finally, and Chester, who died suddenly recently, not aware of history, changed the fluorescent bulbs, lights on. Everybody knew, everybody, somebody, anybody, but nobody did it. Okay. I've never moved a mountain. Lord, I've never moved a mountain, and I guess I never will. All the faith that I could muster wouldn't move a small anthill. Yet I'll tell you, Lord, I'm grateful for the joy of knowing Thee, and for all the mountain moving down through life You've done for me. When I needed some help, You lifted me from the depths of great despair. And when burdens, pain, and sorrow have been more than I can bear, You have always been my courage to restore life's troubled sea and to move those little mountains that look so big to me. Many times when I've had problems and when bills I've had to pay and worries and heartaches just kept mounting every day. Lord, I don't know how You did it. Can't explain the wheres or whys. All I know, I've seen those mountains turn to blessings in disguise. No, I've never moved a mountain, for my faith is far too small. Yet I thank You, Lord of heaven, You have always heard my call. And as long as there are mountains in my life, I'll have no fear. For the mountain-moving Jesus is my strength and always near. Okay, this is the story of an unforgettable flight. A random act of kindness became so much more. By Denny Kuchev, as told to Beverly Brass. I put my carry-on bag in the luggage compartment and sat down to my assigned seat. This is going to be a long flight, I thought. I'm glad I have a good book to read. Maybe I'll get a little nap. Then I fly frequently. I always look for an opportunity to share Jesus with someone. I wondered who it could be, because all around me were empty seats. Not much of a chance to talk to anyone, I thought. Then just before takeoff, a line of soldiers came down the aisle and took the seats across the aisle and in front of me. More came, still more. Finally, 10 soldiers filled all the vacant seats, totally around me. This is more like it, I thought. Okay, Lord, which one will it be? Who needs to hear from me about You? I decided to start a conversation. Where are you headed? I asked the soldier sitting closer to me. Chicago, to Great Lakes Base. We'll be there 2 weeks for special training. Then we're being deployed to Iraq. Anyone hungry? After we were flying for about an hour, an announcement that sack lunches were available at $5 each and was made. It would be several hours before we reached Chicago, and I quickly decided that a lunch would help. As I reached for my wallet, I overheard a soldier ask his buddy if he planned to buy a lunch. No, that seemed like a lot of money just for a sack of lunch. Probably isn't worth $5. I'll just wait until we get to Chicago, his friend agreed. I looked around at the other soldiers surrounding me. Not one was buying a lunch. I was hungry, but I couldn't bring myself to eat in front of them. I walked to the back of the plane and handed the flight agent a $50 bill. Please take lunch to all these soldiers, I said. She grabbed my arms and squeezed tightly, her eyes wet with tears. My son was a soldier in Iraq, she said. It's almost like doing it for him. She picked up 10 lunches and headed for the area where the soldiers were seated. Overwhelmed by her emotional response, I returned to my seat, only to realize that I had failed to order lunch for myself. Before I could undo my seat belt, the flight attendant stopped at my seat. Which would you like, beef or chicken? She asked. Chicken, I replied, wondering why she had asked. She went to the front of the plane and returned a minute later with a dinner plate from the first-class cabin. She put down my tray table and sat the plate on it. This is our thanks, she said. Now I felt guilty. I had dinner, and the soldiers had only a sack lunch. Gathering momentum. After we finished eating, I went again to the back of the plane, heading for the restroom. A man stopped me. I saw what you did, he said. I want to be part of it. Here, take this. And he handed me $25. Soon after I returned to my seat, the plane's captain came down the aisle, looking at the aisle numbers as he walked. I noticed he was looking at the numbers only on my side of the plane. When he got to my seat, he stopped, smiled, and holding out his hand said, I want to shake your hand. Quickly unfastening my seatbelt, I stood and took the captain's hand. In a booming voice, he said, I was a soldier, and I was a pilot. Someone once bought me lunch. It was an act of kindness I never forgot. Thank you. I sat down embarrassed by the applause of passengers sitting nearby. Later I walked to the front of the plane to stretch my legs. About 6 rows in front of me, a man reached out to shake my hand. He held another $25 in his palm. When we arrived in Chicago, I gathered my belongings and started to deplane. Waiting just inside the door was a man who stopped me, but put something in my shirt pocket, turned and walked away without saying a word. Another $25. Upon entering the terminal, I saw the soldiers gathering for their trip to Great Lakes Base. I walked over to them and handed them $50. Here, I said. By the time you reach base, it'll be time for another meal. God bless you. 10 young men left that flight feeling the love and respect of their fellow travelers. As I walked to my car, I whispered a prayer for their safe return. They were giving their all for their country. I could give only a couple meals. It seemed so little. That was it was quoted by Denny Culichi, who lives in Wooddale, Illinois, and Beverly Brass writes from Riverwood, Washington. God bless you.